Hola clase, ¿cómo están? So in this presentation, I'll be talking about stem-changing verbs in the present tense, and more specifically, I'll be talking about stem-changing verbs where the O changes to a UE, also known as O to UE stem-changing or boot verbs. Muy bien, so vamos a empezar. So stem-changing verbs, as you recall, are also known as boot verbs because we can draw a boot around the forms that change in the conjugation table. So let's take a look at that. Here we have the verb poder, which means to be able to, okay, which as you notice, it's an O to UE stem-changing verb. Okay, so we have the verb poder conjugated out in the table. So for all of these O to UE stem-changing verbs, okay, the O changes to UE in all of the forms inside of the boot. Okay, so the yo form, as you can see, the O is changing to a UE. The to form, the same thing's happening. Same with the el, usted form. Okay, but then when we get to the nosotros form, the O does not change. Notice it stays the same. Okay, same with the vosotros. So these are the only two that are outside of the boot. And then the final form, the ellos, ellas, ustedes form, it changes back. The O changes to UE. So that's why we call them boot verbs, because we can draw that nice boot around the forms that do change, okay? And realize that the only two that don't change are the ones that are left out of the boot. Again, the nosotros and the vosotros. Muy bien. So once you change the O to UE, the endings of the verbs are going to stay the same, okay? So it's still the normal AR, ER, and IR endings. And just to quickly refresh those endings, we have a chart here for you. And here they are. So we have AR, ER, and IR. So for AR verbs, the endings are just o amos, or o as a, amos ais an. For ER verbs, o es e, emos eis en. And finally for IR verbs, the endings are o es e, imos is en. Okay, so again, the endings are still going to be the same with these types of verbs. What does change is the stem, right? Or the O to UE in all of these cases. So let's look at some examples. So the verb dormir in the infinitive means to sleep. Okay, notice we have an O here in the infinitive. And this O is going to change to a UE in all of those forms inside of the boot. So yo duermo is I sleep. So the yo, as you recall, is inside the boot, so we have to have the O change to a UE. Okay, yo duermo means I sleep. Contar, that means to count. Okay, contar is to count. The O is going to change to a UE for all of those forms inside the boot. So tu cuentas would be you count. So it would be incorrect, or it wouldn't sound right to say tu contas. Okay, it's tu cuentas. It's a stem-changing verb. Next one is volar. Clase repite volar. Muy bien, volar. That means to fly. So the O is going to change to a UE for all of the forms inside of the boot. Ella is a form inside the boot, so we're going to have the O change to a UE. Ella vuela is she flies. She flies. Muy bien. Almorzar. Clase repite almorzar. Almorzar means to eat lunch. This again is an O to UE stem-changing verb. But here we see the nosotros form being conjugated. And nosotros, as you recall, is outside of the boot. So if it's outside of the boot, okay, or if it's a nosotros or a vosotros form, we don't change the O. Okay, it stays the same. So notice it's nosotros almorzamos, not nosotros almuerzamos, right? So here, since it's nosotros, we don't have the stem change. Okay, next one is morir. Morir, that means to die. The O changes to UE for all the forms inside the boot again. Vosotros is outside of the boot, so vosotros moris, notice it's not changing. Okay, it would be you all die. Okay. And volver, muy bien. Clase repite volver, muy bien. Volver means to return, to return. Again, O to UE stem-changing verb. Ellos, again, is inside the boot. Now we're back inside the boot, so we're going to have the O change to a UE. So ellos vuelven would be how you would say they return. And our last one is encontrar. Clase repite encontrar. Encontrar means to find, to find. Again, it's an O to UE stem-changing verb. Here we have ustedes, which is inside the boot, so we're going to have that stem change. The O is going to change to UE. So ustedes encuentran is going to be you all find. You all find. Okay, eso es todo. Muchas gracias, clase, y hasta la próxima.